So, welcome everybody to the Humminbird Hub. Once again, the place where we share ideas and we bring people that have experiences and interesting ideas to share with the world. Today, I have my dear friend Andreas Nearhou, somebody that is very close to my heart, but also very inspiring in my journey. We have been training together for quite some time, but most importantly, shared life experiences. And as you know, as we progress through our life, the people that we have around us and the people who we have in our homes and in our hearts kind of shape our shape our story to a degree. But most importantly, what really drawn Humminbird to bring Andreas into our space is the experiences that he has to share, because Andreas is a personal trainer, but I would probably call you more of a scientist and a body development, if I may call it that. And I will let Andreas describe himself better.
Hi, I'm Andreas Nearhou. I have a PhD in kinesiology. My main focus was on cancer rehabilitation, and the second focus was on sports performance, and the PhD was done actually in treating people with spinal issues, so post-surgery rehabilitation. So I'm a kinesiologist, but I see myself more of a body artist. So at this moment, and I would say a bit of a life coaching there as well.
Yeah, I would say that too.
Yeah, because there is a lot of that being involved in personal training or rehabilitation. So it's been a large part of my life. I would say it consumes about 85% of my life, and I really love it. I fell in love with it within the first moment, and I'm all in.
And what was that moment when you fell in love with it? How did you know this was something that you wanted to pursue?
It was my happy place. I was studying to be a mechanical engineer. That's what my father wanted me to be. But I always been a guy that was always into sports, always active, always outdoors, always BMXing, skateboarding, scuba diving, windsurfing, kayaking, you name it, I was doing it. I was good at everything. Not good enough to be a champion at something, but I was good enough to be able to do everything. So for me, it was a bit of a getaway or an escape, let's just say. But then I found so much love into it, and that's where I felt happy and comfy. So in 97, I changed my major into kinesiology, and that was the end of it.
So, or the beginning of it.
Oh, well, the end of my father's and I relationship.
But it's a massive change. I mean, having to go from the engineering part but it's almost like you took the engineering to the next level. So you could say that way you didn't actually change majors, but you just changed the direction within the same spectrum.
Yeah.
Because really it's like engineering and designing the body. Because it always fascinated me how the avatar that we have, this like bones and skin and muscle, how it stores memories, how it stores stress and at the same time releases pleasure, how it can connect so well that our whole body's state just changes from the way we feel about ourselves.
Absolutely. The hormones being involved when you stress and how they affect your body. The happy hormones when you're happy, how they affect your body as well, and your brain and your entire well-being. And that comes down to the chemistry of everything and the response of your body according to that. And it's amazing and fascinating how much depth you can go in within all this, and how nutrition actually plays a major role, and the chemistry of nutrition plays a major role on how you feel before training, after training, during the recovery period. All that I find is so fascinating and so, I would say, impressive. And then I'll tell you another thing that really put me a lot more into this is my third year, my junior year in college. We started going a lot more into the chemistry, a lot more into the exercise programming and all that. And that's when I actually decided to do a bodybuilding competition. So everything I was learning at that point at uni, I was actually applying it into my preparation for the bodybuilding contest. And that was just amazing, the things I learned.
Like a dissertation almost, right? It's like an experiential studying, because it's experience that really
And
gives
this
it.
is the things that you're not going to read in books. This is the things that you're going to learn about your body only if you experiment yourself. And it was just amazing. I was hooked. I knew at that point it was like the right decision and what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So
It's amazing how the physiology just anchors you into a certain reality, right? When you feel something in your body in some point in your life, it gives you that reference point that you always bring to. That's why people love gym so much, because of that feeling that they get during gym. And I do believe that it is a process of releasing stress. It's almost like a meditation.
yeah,
When you activating your body, it's what Tony Robbins speaks about, the 3 states, the body, the mental, and I don't want to go too much because I'm not sure if yeah.
It's something I want to mention here. It's people do physical activity or come to the gym not just for the physical benefits of it, but also the stress, the mental, the psychological. A lot of people want to get away from work. They have that 1 hour that it is your time for you. It could be that 1 hour away from your kids, from your wife, from the husband. And that's also that hour that you have for yourself that is completely for you and your mental well-being and your physical well-being. And a lot of people don't see it that way until you actually think about it. And then the benefits you get out of that. You leave more positive. You finish your session, you finish your training, and all the stress is out.
So true. It's almost like sports therapy, right?
It is a form of therapy.
I would say
it's not just sports therapy. It is a form of therapy. Both on the trainer's end, but also on the trainees' end. Because me being around different people a day just makes me realize a lot of times my problems are nothing comparing to these. And I'm like, wow, I'm blessed. But also it's nice to hear people's stories as well. We have a rule: listen 90%. And then talk 10%. So otherwise, you will drive yourself nuts if you don't stick to that rule. So
listening is an art, right?
Yeah, it is. Without trying to fix things up for people. I was at a point in my career where I was always getting involved, trying to help everybody. And at the end of the day, I started making their problems my problem. And that led me to exhaustion, negativity. And then eventually I withdraw myself from different people, from my crew, from my going out. So I just started becoming a bit of a loner.
So is that some kind of way of you taking care of yourself, like self-discipline, self-love?
Yes. I learned self-love the hard way, let's just say. I had some things going on at that point where I actually resorted to substances in order to escape my issues instead of actually facing them and fixing them up. So I kind of ran myself to the ground, and it was when I realized unless I look out for myself, nobody will do that. And it starts with me, and it's all about how I control the different situations that are in my life and how I act instead of reacting to them. I did CBT for about 1 year. That really was a lifesaver. It taught me so much, and I learned so much about myself at that point, not about how to deal with situations, about myself. And I learned to love myself again, and it's a nice feeling. It may sound selfish to people, but if I'm not okay, nobody else around me is okay. And that's the most important thing. When you fly in a plane and the masks drop, they advise you to actually put your own mask and then put it on the person next to you. If you don't put your own mask and if you don't look after yourself, you won't be able to help anybody else around you.
But how do you practice it in your everyday life?
Here's how you practice it: is actually take time for yourself. For example, I used to work from 6 a.m. until 10 or 11 p.m. non-stop, back-to-back clients. And I would work out on top of that. Now I started working a little bit later. I started taking lunch breaks. I started taking that 1 or 2 hours for myself to eat, rest, and then go back to work. I started taking time for myself to exercise me. And they'll learn that I can service people as well as I am doing it at all times, because I'll tell you, I consulted my cousin's husband, who is actually a life coach, and he asked me, Andreas, how much effort do you put into your work? I said, minimum 150%. So he brought this point up. How would you feel going down to 80%? I said, I don't know if that's going to work. But he showed me studies that even if you put a little less than 100%, about 80%, people will not notice. But if you stop exerting yourself so much, give a little less, people will not notice that a little less, but you notice it. And then I took him up on a couple sessions. We trained together and actually showed me how that little bit, stepping back a little bit, it worked. People didn't notice that I was giving a little less of myself. Not a little less of no training, a little less of myself. It really worked. And it really got me to calm down and got me to relax.
It's like a balance, but at the same time, you actually giving the space to the others to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not actually compensating for both of you at the same time, which actually takes a little bit of that responsibility for themselves away from them.
Absolutely.
You're giving them the space to own up to their
Mm-hmm.
choices, being there, showing up for themselves. Right?
And a lot of the times, applying that 90% hearing, 10% talking. Before, I was always trying to get involved and fix things and fix that. But now I'll just only give some advice, some support, and then just kind of let people do that for themselves. And that was probably one of the things that actually got me to still be sane and do this work and help people. I was getting so into it, and I was trying to do this for them, do that for them, and eventually I would go home and I was miserable.
Yeah, because you're
exhausted.
such a giver.
No,
You
I
really
am.
get the pleasure. Yeah, you really get knowing you for as many years as I have. I mean, you really get the pleasure
It is.
out of being there for the people.
It is, and it's nice, but to a certain extent now. I also saw when I had a couple of personal problems with my health, I saw how all my people, they were there unconditionally, and it was lovely to see, because I never thought people can be there for you as much as they did. It was amazing, and I was happy, and I was actually relieved that I know I have a backup.
Because they're a reflection of you.
Yeah,
So it always comes back.
yeah, it does. I don't do what I do with the expectation that people will do the same to me. But it was really nice to see that and the support and realize the people I had around me. And a couple of years ago when I went through that phase, I didn't realize how many people do care and love me. And it was nice to see that love, because I never had it before. And I was really impressed, and I was really happy. So
You deserve it. But I just want to thank you for that. And thank you for being so open and sharing this with me and with the audience, because people can relate to that, because the art of receiving is perhaps just as important as the art of giving, and perhaps harder.
yeah,
It's harder for us to receive because
It's-
we've been taught we are not enough
yeah.
since we're little.
Being a giver, and when it comes to a point where it's time for me to receive, I couldn't do it. And the last couple of years, I'm slowly learning how to receive and how to be open to this reception. I couldn't accept help, or I couldn't receive any help, or put my pride down to allow people to be there for me. I'm a bit stubborn sometimes, but I learned not to be anymore. And you really, I have to be very patient and allow people to be there for me. And that was the nice thing when I met Svetlana. She was the very first person that I allowed to receive from her. And that felt good. It felt really good. It felt it was genuine, what she was doing. And then slowly I allowed the rest of the people around me to be able to give. And I was open to receiving. And that was a good feeling. Still learning on it.
Because there's more and more layers.
There's more and more layers of it, and more layers of me or my life to be able to receive not just physical or mental or money or any things, material stuff. Is just mostly the mental and the physical. So
like an attention, you mean? Like
attention, the people being there if I'm sick, to allow people to know what's going on before I would just keep hiding it. And I'm pretty good at that. And it was really difficult for me to share that with anybody. Previously, I was judged by a partner on certain things that I was not sharing with her about my health status, and eventually that kind of bit me in the butt. But I wasn't able to share because I was judged by that person. And at that point, I wanted support. I didn't want to be judged. I wanted that support, and that really shut me down. And that was part of me learning how to be there and how to share and how to be open after that. And really, Sveta brought the best out of me in that, and it's amazing.
Isn't it amazing that people are so scared of being judged?
Mm-hmm.
And how much it stops us in our tracks when we want to progress somewhere, because we have that idea that we are being judged, which actually originates from our childhood and our relationship with our parents and our relationship with our peers, with our teachers, with say authority figures.
And my parents were very strict. I came in from an upper middle class family, well educated. My mom was in the education system.
Mm-hmm.
My father was an architect. So there was always that expectation of me being a good student, a good athlete, the perfect example to everyone. And I was, until I had no life.
You were so busy living up to other people's expectations.
Yeah, I was living what everybody else wanted me to live, but I wasn't living for me.
Yeah.
And, back then the families were more strict. There was no social media, no internet, no video games. My way out was BMX bikes and athletics. And then eventually I snapped. There was so much pressure, and then waking up at 5:30 a.m., going to the swimming pool, practice for an hour. 7:45, I was in class. Usually the first 2 periods I slept on the desk. I was so exhausted. Then I would get into arguments with teachers. And then 1:45, you're done with school, you go home, you eat lunch. You have some time to study. You go to private lessons. 6 o'clock, I was in the swimming pool again. And
what a discipline, my gosh. I hope you acknowledge that. Look at that discipline.
I do. And I see that in my swimmers now, my swimming team I'm coaching. But then you get home at 8:30, you're so exhausted, you eat, and then you have a little more studying to do. By 10, you're completely asleep. And then here we go again. On the weekends, when all my friends, they could go out, they could go parties, they can go clubs, I was home. And really, I felt the pressure.
So it's like you had a very vibrant life, but you had no life for you.
I couldn't be a normal teenager. And that's what really started bothering me. And I rebelled at that time. And now, whether it was good or bad, I think it taught me a lot of things on understanding teenagers and understanding what it is to be in that situation. I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't smoking. Drinking was not an issue. Never smoked. Never got drunk at that point. It was just not a big deal for me. I just wanted to go be around people. That's all. And I was handcuffed to my room, basically. And it didn't feel good at all.
Nice. I feel you as you're talking now.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
And, I had to sneak out of the house many times, get out of the second floor. My friend would pick me up at on the street behind my parents' house, and we go out, and I'll come back home at a certain time, sleep, repeat.
So it's like you needed to rebel against the system, let's put it this way. And I think perhaps that when you were describing the substances, that was your way of giving yourself the permission to relax.
Yeah.
So it was a need that you had.
It was an escape, a feel-good place, let's just say, because everything else I have done, the exercising, the partying, the drinking, anything, it just kind of faded off. It wasn't working anymore. And then I resorted to using substances to escape. And that's when, I thought I had control initially, and then it started having control of me. And that's when he hit rock bottom. And then knowing myself, I tend to take things up a notch or two. I found a new rock bottom, way below rock bottom. And I buried myself into that. But coming out of it was not easy. It took a lot of focus, a lot of work, a lot of therapy. And I would say therapy is what helped me understand myself, understand my patterns, understand how not to allow myself to go to the point where I'm burned out. Recognize the signs, recognize how I felt, recognize my feelings. Also, use those feelings and discuss them with someone. Luckily, I have a lot of people that are open to discuss these things with me, and that was a great support system. And then I never got to that place again, so I never allowed myself to go to that point.
Well done. What a breakthrough.
It is a breakthrough
of the pattern.
Yeah, and
it takes a lot of discipline.
I surprised myself a few times.
but do you see how that served you? That discipline that you have gained, that was your prison at that time, has actually served you to be able to break through the patterns in the future.
Exactly.
So it's that skill that you have learned. It's just balancing it out, basically taking ownership of it, making it your own, and switching from having to please everybody around, which I can really relate to. I've been through that.
Well,
and really looking after yourself, because you're then giving the space for others to do the same, and you are showing up authentically.
And it's surprising how, remember I told you at the beginning that I used, what I was learning in college to actually applying it into my training. When I was doing my CPT, I was actually using a book, The Marshmallow Test. So
sounds yummy.
And it's actually a book that it was done in the 80s, and a study that was done earlier on. About how they give kids a task, and if they complete it, they get 2 marshmallows. If they don't complete the task and wait those 10 minutes, they only get 1. So it is actually, according to that book and the psychotherapy I did, it really gave me, I would say, 2 tools to actually enhance my recovery and enhance my way of learning. Because I have basically the science, and then I had the practice at the same time. And I practiced all those 2 together, and it was amazing because certain chapters I was reading, it was combined with my therapy.
So you anchored it, and you anchored it, and you anchored it, and then you made it your own. What is the marshmallow test?
The marshmallow test is a book, and it's also a test that they did with students. And that book and that test, it actually determines people's behavior. So let's just say what they do, they give you 1 marshmallow, and then they give you an assignment. So if You finish the assignment, you wait for those 15 minutes and finish it. Instead of one marshmallow, you can get two.
So delayed gratification test.
Yeah, so the gratification. And basically, you can have the one marshmallow right away, but if you wait 15 minutes, then you get two or three. So that actually it recognizes patterns in people's skills and also personality. And also that determines how the rest of your life is going to go as well. They use that.
It depends on the marshmallow.
Yeah,
how your life is going to go.
But it is a sign that actually you can predetermine how you can actually pre-program your brain to actually, do certain things down the road in life. So giving people the patience, giving people options as well. And then from there, you can actually have the full bag of marshmallows.
You see, that's the thing. Actually, the difference between getting what you want here and now or having a vision. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, maybe in business terms, it's like when you're actually investing into something or you're doing just say, like renting or service or whatever. So, so kind of knowing that you will reap the benefits in the long run. Which brings me to the question, to the next question.
Yes.
You are also very multicultural. You're not your, common representative of a Cypriot living here in Cyprus. You lived abroad. You lived in US, out of all places, yes. A complete total opposite to what Cyprus is like. Can you just share with us what that experience was? How it has influenced the way that you were thinking, how it impacted your life in general, what you really could bring with your clients and with people that you meet through your experience?
The US experience, that first year, I'll tell you, it was tough. That first week, I wanted to come back. And I'm a person that I'm very open-minded. I love to experience new cultures. But once I got there, I was all on my own and I knew nobody. I got accepted at uni, and let's just say it was a rough year, adjusting to the culture, learning the American way of doing things.
How old were you? I'm sorry? 17.
I'm 43 now. I was 20 when I got there. So, it was just a huge adjustment because it's a completely different world. What do we do here? We always have our connections here, and it's easy to, my dad is going to call this person at this field, and he's going to sort it out, and then I'm going to go and I'm all going to be sorted out. Over there, I had nobody to do that for me. And I was lucky I had military training, and that paid off. I'm very easy to be on my own and get things done, but it was really difficult for me to associate with everyone there because the American culture, they see European, they're like, oh, you're European, you wear tight jeans, la 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 la. They made fun of my accent. Because in the US, batteries. So you say batteries. In UK, you say batteries.
Batteries.
So it was difficult. People made fun of me. People made fun of my accent. And that made me, I wasn't angry. I was just more, if you came here to study in a different language, in Greek, how would they manage? They wouldn't manage. People wouldn't make fun of them actually here. They would actually help them. At least from my point of view and the people I know, my generation, they would have helped them. They wouldn't have made fun of them. And I had a situation in class where I had to actually stand up and say, yeah, you guys make fun of my accent. But you know what? If you came to my country, studying a completely different language, people wouldn't make fun of you. People will give you respect and people will help. So that really doesn't make you better than me at this point. I'm better than you because I can do that and you're not.
So you basically took your roots and you took your foundation of what you felt served you, that attitude of support. Because I guess that's the difference between, say, here where everything is more of a networking thing and everybody kind of like has that puzzle that you put together and there's always a way to kind of help each other out, which is the beauty of the community, of the island, say, and then you come into where everybody is for themselves. So it's that combination, right? So it's almost like makes you proud of your heritage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also that I use that, people making fun of me, I use that as fuel to be better. And I was better. Instead of being angry and upset, I used it as motivation to actually be better and be a better person. And I accomplished a lot more than most people did. I was always good with my professors because they were so fascinated of me being there and doing what I was doing in a completely different language. And actually, I loved it. I really enjoyed that because after that first year, which was the rough year, I just kind of adjusted into it. And it was amazing after I enjoyed the full culture. I mean, for 15 years I was there. And I always use that because I have a lot of customers that are foreigners. I'm always open to different nationalities. I'm always open to different learning how different people act and react, their beliefs and
attitude,
religion, the attitude, all that comes into. And I'm blessed because I'm able to adapt into their environment and in their position quickly. So that kind of gives me the advantage of
connection faster.
Yeah, and find more common areas of interest and connection and chemistry. So I would say I'm like a chameleon when it comes to that. And it's really nice because there's no awkwardness.
Yeah,
Makes the customer makes the customer a lot more comfortable around me, and they're more likely to stick with me.
Yeah.
So and it's nice. It's a good feeling. All those years, it paid off.
Well done. You see, I can feel a sense of pride. A sense of pride for your achievement that you are kind of reflecting here, and this is the form of self-love, where you give yourself that respect for having gone through what you have gone through, and not in a way that you would put anybody else down, but in a way that you were just proud for what you represent. And I would like to honor you, and I would like to thank you for bringing those experiences in here, for sharing them with us, for being open and vulnerable, because you then give the chance and the space for other people to speak about their experiences, because a lot of people can relate to what you have brought here, whatever. There's so many aspects and facets to you. So thank you so much for being here, for
You're
sharing
welcome.
what you have shared. And if there was a last pearl of wisdom that you would like to share with the viewers before we close off the circle, what would that be?
I would say observe, be open to learn, be open to see people for who they really are instead of being quick to judge. So, and don't judge. Judging is not a way of living, not a way of actually carrying with you, because we cannot judge people. So you cannot change people how you view them. You can just see they're people that are truly what they are, and then choose whether you want to be around them or not. But for me, it's like never judge. Don't judge a book by its cover. There's a whole different
dynamic
going under there.
Yes,
So
totally.
that would be my finishing
Your pearl of wisdom. Thank you so much once again.
My pleasure.
And thank you, our lovely audience, for being here with us. We really do hope that you have enriched yourselves through this sharing and this heart opening that we have here. And we're looking forward to more to come. Have a blessed day. Bye.